Good evening from the Cobra Studios in Miami, Florida. I'm your host, Juliana Sanes of Cobra TV, and I welcome you to the first 2020 presidential debate between Senator Issac Chacon, representing the Democratic Party, and Senator Daniela Riancho, representing the Republican Party. This debate is sponsored by the Commissions of Presidential Debates and FIU's ENC 1101's class, sponsored by Professor Ortega. The Commission has designed the format. We will discuss 4 topics, and each candidate will have up to 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer. These topics include immigration, gun control, the legalization of marijuana, and climate change. Both campaigns have agreed to those rules. None of those questions have been shared with the Commission or the 2 candidates. The audience here in the studio has agreed to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions, so we and you, the audience, can focus on what the candidate has to say. No noise except for right now, as we welcome the Democratic nominee for President, Senator Issac Chacon, and the Republican nominee for President, Senator Riancho. We start off by this opening statements. Again, each candidate will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to make their remarks. We're going to start off with Secretary Riancho.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for all the unconditional support that I've been receiving throughout this campaign. Today, I will be addressing some of the issues that we are facing together as a country and how I will solve them if you pick me as your next president.
Hello and good evening as well. I want to take a moment to thank you all for tuning in tonight and for showing the utmost support to my campaign and I. Tonight, I will be addressing the humongous issues our country is facing and how I will solve these issues if I'm elected President of the United States.
Thank you for introducing yourself, candidates. Now let's dive right in. With the recent mass shootings happening in the U.S., many are marching and protesting for more gun control. Some are even protesting the complete ban in gun sales. We've seen many of Parkland students coming to Washington, speaking their voices out and demanding a change. What is your stance on gun control while still maintaining the integrity of the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms? And where do you fall under the spectrum?
Let me start off by saying that I will not remove the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I believe people should still be able to protect themselves in the event of robbery attempt or life in this situation or whatever the case may be. I want weapons to be sold in gun stores, and military-grade weapons such as rifles and other high-power weapons will not be sold to citizens. There is no need for these type of weapons to be owned by citizens and on city streets. You will only be able to purchase handguns, and it will require people who want to purchase a weapon to go through a strict training on firearm safety. In addition, to purchase a weapon, you must have no criminal record or any violence history, and must be over the age of 21. Also, I will set up a department that keeps track of all weapons purchased and by who.
I agree with Senator Chacon. Gun control laws should be enforced, but the answer to this issue is not banning guns completely, because that would be going against our common rights and the Second Amendment. In this case being the right to bear arms. Most certainly, the problem is not the guns, but instead the people behind them that irresponsibly own and uses guns to harm others or cause chaos. The guns aren't the thing killing the people, but instead the people are the ones firing the guns. How much gun control do you need? Gun shops already require major background checks, and no individual can obtain a gun without going through a waiting period and obtaining a license first.
I just don't agree with you, Senator. Our current laws are not strong enough when it comes to gun control. Any 18-year-old can walk into a store and purchase an AR rifle, but cannot walk into a liquor store and buy a pack of beer? It just doesn't make sense, Senator. We need stricter gun laws. We need to have background checks that go deeper into people's lives, not just into their criminal history, but as well as into their mental health. I agree that people are the ones committing these horrible crimes, but the guns are there to facilitate this. For example, if Nicholas Cruz, the Parkland shooter, and the Sandy Hook shooters did not have automatic weapons and AR rifles to commit these crimes, the innocent lives lost in these tragedies would have not been taken. Implementing stricter gun laws will help stop these shootings, if not completely, then partially. Every life we can save matters. It can impact our future, and we don't even know it.
How strict do you want to make these laws, Isaac? Like I said before, people already have to go through a course and they need a license to purchase these guns. We cannot leave people without protection. What if you're a wife and you want to divorce your husband and he's crazy and you need protection and then they're making you wait 1 whole month to actually purchase a gun because of the background check? What are you going to do throughout that whole month without protection?
Senator, that person can have a history of mental illness. Like that person can be deemed unfit to hold a weapon. What if that person goes crazy and we don't know about it?
Okay, so you're saying we should look into people's private medical records?
If it can stop school shootings and mass shootings worldwide, then yes, I think we should be able to do it.
Thank you, Senators. But let's move on to the next issue. One of the most controversial topics facing our nation today is immigration, being that in 2016 alone, there was on average 10.7 million illegal immigrants that crossed our borders. How would you control the entering of illegal immigrants?
That's an excellent question, Ms. Sanas. The way I would control the entering of illegal immigrants into our country is setting a limit for the number of immigrants able to enter our country. Also, background checks would be very important and strictly enforced. I want to separate the criminals and the hard-working families. I want to have 2 different holding facilities, one for immigrants currently involved in any crimes or gangs, and the other for housing family and other immigrants with clean backgrounds. Over 2 million illegal immigrants have either committed crimes or are part of gangs and are selling drugs, and they are coming into our country. I will pledge a greater focus on the removal of these specific unauthorized immigrants. I do not believe the immigrants that fall under these categories should be allowed to enter our borders. Everyone deserves a chance to start a new life. But if we are providing a new start for these incoming immigrants, I'm going to make sure the correct individuals will be allowed a fresh start.
Senator Chacon says that he does not believe in immigrants that have committed crimes should be allowed to pass through our borders, but that crime-free families seeking a fresh new start are allowed. Senator Riancho, what do you have to say about this?
I believe that any legal immigrant should be allowed into our country. They bring diversity and an economy boost to our nation. However, I don't think that illegal immigrants should be taken into asylum so they can take the position and benefits of our hardworking citizens. If measures are not applied to stop the constant entering of illegal immigrants, such as stricter border control, then more immigrants will enter our country illegally with confidence because they are receiving all these benefits that other places do not provide.
Senator, our country is known to be the land of opportunity, a place where anyone can find freedom, even immigrants. My solution to this is separating the criminals, the ones that I believe should not be allowed a new life. Yes, everyone, this is the land of freedom, everyone deserves a new chance. But if we're going to accept immigrants into our countries, I believe that we should get the right families, the correct immigrants that deserve a chance of freedom.
Okay, I'm not saying we shouldn't let immigrants into our country. I'm just saying they have to come legally. We need stricter border control. We need people that can make sure that these people aren't coming here illegally and taking advantage of all the great opportunities that this country can provide for hardworking Americans.
Thank you to both of the candidates on their views and what they want to change for our country. Throughout the nation, states are legalizing the use of recreational marijuana, and the people have shown their approval and disapproval. What is your stance on considering that we in America already use it for medical purposes and is already legal in a number of states? What is your overall view of the legalization of cannabis in our nation?
The legalization of marijuana has always been a controversial topic, but now more than ever. One of the biggest problems with legalizing marijuana for recreational use is that it will make it too accessible, and as a result, it would expand its use and misuse. Allowing businesses to profit from the legalization of cannabis will lead to the marketing of it to heavy pot users who might have a drug addiction, which is similar to what happened in the alcohol and tobacco industries, where companies profited from users with serious addiction uses.
Senator, your facts are just completely wrong. I believe marijuana should be legalized all across our country and for plenty of reasons too. Legalizing marijuana could produce a ton of money for the federal government, and I'm talking about billions and billions of dollars in tax revenue, not just a few $1,000,000. Next, marijuana is impossible to overdose on, unlike alcohol, which is sold all around the world. There is an outrageous number of deaths each year in relation with alcohol consumption and is known to cause aggression, yet it is still sold everywhere else. Marijuana is also known to cheer people up and relieve stress and tension. People should not be punished or judged for wanting to use cannabis to relax and for their own reasons. Moving forward, marijuana is already legalized in some US states, like you just said, such as Colorado, California, and many more. Cannabis is also already being used for medical purposes and helps treat plenty of illnesses and diseases, cancer being the most common illness. If marijuana was so harmful and addictive, Senator, why do we use it to help cancer patients and their treatments? Marijuana is simply just not a harmful drug or an addictive drug, and it is certainly not a gateway drug. Secretary Riancho, what you are saying about alcohol is true, but take in consideration that alcohol is a depressant, unlike marijuana, nor is it a gateway drug.
Yeah. Senator Chacon, the only reason why you want to legalize cannabis is because you were a user yourself. And the last thing we need is a president smoking marijuana just because it's legalized while making high decisions.
That is a personal attack, Senator. But since we are addressing this picture, yes, I did smoke weed in my college years. But I do not believe I should be judged or viewed differently because of it. Our former president, Barack Obama, was known for smoking cannabis in his college years, and look at what he accomplished. He went on to become the first and only African-American president, winning back-to-back presidential terms. This is about all the American people, not my personal agenda.
As a matter of fact, Obama was a horrible president. Under his presidency, he said he was all about keeping families together and helping immigrants. However, his actions show otherwise when he deported and separated a lot of families. So you're basically supporting a hypocrite, and you are one yourself since you broke the law and illegally used pot for recreational use. Ladies and gentlemen, if he did this, what makes you think that he will maintain an honest campaign and presidency?
Okay, I don't see the correlation between Obama's decisions in immigration and my laws for legalizing marijuana.
I'm sorry, Senators, but we're running out of time. We're going to move on to our final question. Now let's talk about climate change. Each year, we're getting more floods, intensifying hurricanes, and harsher winter storms, and the list goes on and on. In fact, 2016 has been the hottest year on record, and models show that temperatures will continue to rise. What would you do as president to implement in order to save our country's future?
Global warming is a hoax, and scientists haven't actually agreed on whether it exists or not, and what causes it. I mean, think about it. There's no real evidence.
Excuse me, Senator Riancho. There is actually evidence. It is even known for years now that one of the leading causes of global warming is by the toxic fuels that are released by factories and vehicles. The WWF organization reported that every time that deforestation takes place, no matter if it is being removed from the ground or being burnt, that carbon is being released from these plants, goes right back into the atmosphere. With that being said, up to 1/5 of greenhouse gas pollution comes directly from deforestation alone. Another issue affecting our climate is animal agriculture. It is one of the leading causes affecting our climate change. Livestock produces more greenhouse gases than the emissions from the entire transportation sector. I want to slowly move our nation more towards plant-based meals and enhance our diets. I'm not saying we're going to move on from meat. I'm just saying we can inherit more healthy foods and cut down on the consumption of meat.
Actually, Mr. Chacon, many scientists disagree with the fact that global warming and climate change are mostly human caused. As a matter of fact, climate change is not real.
Thank you, candidates. Now it's time to say your final remarks on why America should choose you as president. Senators, you have 90 seconds.
I would like to thank everyone again for keeping up with our campaign and listening to our presidential debate. I hope you pick me as your next president because I promise to bring greatness to this country again. I want to spread peace and stop war in our loving nation, and I believe that with my leadership skills, And with the help of all my fellow citizens, we can make this great country even greater.
I want to thank everyone that watched the debate and showed consistent support during my campaign. If you saw our whole debate, it is obvious that I am best fit for the presidency, considering that I truly want what's best for our nation, and I have the right plans to move our country in the right direction. Senator Riancho doesn't even thinks that climate change is a hoax.
Well, this has been an interesting night for all Americans. We would like to thank Senator Chacon and Senator Riancho for joining us today. Again, this debate was brought to you by the Commissions of Presidential Debates, ENC 1101, and Professor Ortega. We'd like to give a special thanks to Cobra TV News for their hospitality and hosting the first 2020 presidential debate. It has been an honor for me to host this event. Once again, I'm Juliana Sanes, and we'll see you in our next debate. Let's just dive right in.
I am Issac Chacon, and I am the president you want.
You just disconnected the thing? Whoa.
What is this thing?
Join the video!
For like a picture? Yo, just do whatever you can with this film. I love apples.
Oh wait! Come here! Record all of us!
No!
Come here! Let's record one of us.
Alright.